Porto, my Porto. The Invicta City, ancient, yet bursting with energy for the future. How many footsteps have echoed through these streets? How many stories remain untold? The Porto of the Tripeiros, the Porto where the vis become bis. This city leaves no one indifferent. It dazzles those who visit, and it moves those who belong. No matter how far I go, Porto will always be my safe harbor, because é o meu porto. Hi everyone, welcome to another video. And today we'll continue our tour in Porto. So, let's go! And now we are in Rua das Flores, one of the most beautiful and lively streets in Porto. Land was full of orchids and gardens. That's why it's called Flower Street. And the first name of the street was Rua Santa Catarina das Flores, and it became the address of the city's elite. Noble families and rich merchants built their houses here. Nowadays, Rua das Flores is like an open-air stage. Restored old buildings, boutique hotels, cafes with terrace, artisan shops, and always street musicians adding life to the walk. And here we have the Misericordia Church. This was redesigned by Nicolau Nazoni, the same that did the Clérigos Tower. I already showed you the Clérigos Tower in a previous video. And here we have the Misericordia Museum. This is connected to the church. Now let's go down. Here they say that down all saints help, but up is another story. Today, besides history, culture, I have a bonus for you. Tips to talk to people of Porto and have an instant smile. Let's start with a word to women of Porto. If you try to approach a woman in Porto, just say menina. Menina means young lady, but use that word for all the women here and you will see that the magic will happen. So here is Mercado Ferreira Borges, a building made of iron, and Mercado is market in English, but despite its name, it no longer works as a fruit and vegetable market like it once did. Now it's a lively space like the one happening today, as well as exhibitions, concerts and different events. I will teach you some phrases that are very typical to use here, and you will see if you use these phrases, you will get smiles on people of Porto face, because they will be very surprised if you know these phrases. For example, mandar postas de pescada, throwing slices of cold fish. The real meaning is giving random opinions, usually not knowing a lot of the subjects. So, try to use. Now we are in Palácio da Bolsa, the stock exchange palace. This was built over the ruins of the old convent of San Francisco. The convent was destroyed during the siege of Porto. But what was the siege of Porto? Exactly that. The city was under siege. For more than a year, cannons thundered every day. Food ran out and all families suffered, but the people of Porto never gave up. At that time, two brothers were fighting for the throne, Dom Pedro, the liberal, and Dom Miguel, the absolutist. Porto stood by the side of Dom Pedro and paid the price. And from this side of the river, where I am now, Gaia, Dom Miguel set up his troops and bombarded the city without mercy. But even in hunger and despair, Porto resisted. So, in the end, Dom Pedro won the war, and his daughter, Queen Maria II, gave the land of the old convent of San Francisco to the merchants of Porto. And the merchants of Porto decided to build a palace, but not for kings, for commerce, a symbol of strength, hard work, and victory of the people of Porto. Here you have the Church of San Francisco, and this church was connected with the convent of San Francisco. Here is São Nicolau Church. Porto has a lot of church. I believe that is the city of church. It's time for our Porto Dictionary. Mandar bitite literally means throwing bitite, which means giving the opinion about everything, even when nobody asked. Now we are in Ribeira, the riverside of the city, one of the oldest and more authentic places of Porto. Here is Praça do Cobo, one of the famous places here in Ribeira. And this is the guardian of Ribeira, the Duke of Ribeira. The real name was Diocleciano Monteiro, but everyone simply knew as the Duke. He was the savior of many people here, always ready to dive into the Douro to rescue anyone who fell into the river. He spent his whole life in Ribeira. He was a simple man, but with a courage greater than the Douro River. And this is the famous Luís I Bridge. And the bridge is called Luís I, not the Luís I. And here used to be a bridge called Ponte Pencil, but even before this bridge used to be another bridge called Ponte das Barcas. It was a floating bridge made of wooden boats tied together with iron cables, and it was on this bridge that one of the greatest tragedies of the history of Porto unfolded. Thousands of people rushed across, desperately fleeing Napoleon's troops. But the bridge couldn't bear the weight and collapsed. In an instant, thousands were thrown into the Douro River and drowned. But here's something not everyone knows. Despite the tragedy, Porto was one of the Portuguese cities least occupied by the French. The French only stayed here for 44 days. With the help of the British, Porto fought back and won. In fact, the French retreat was so chaotic that General Soult lost a third of his army just trying to escape, along with all the equipment abandoned behind. And Napoleon was furious. Basically, in a letter to General Soult, he wrote, "I hope you learn your lesson." So, Porto was invaded, but never surrendered. And once again, Porto, the undefeated city, a cidade invicta, prevailed. And behind me is a place called Alminhas da Ponte, in memory of Ponte das Barcas tragedy. If anyone in Porto says, "let's have a coffee," it doesn't really mean that you have to have a coffee. It just means that you will go out and be together. And coffee is optional. Beside me is Rivoli Theater, and I already danced here a lot of times when I was in ballet, and I was very thin, not anymore, but let's not get in my nostalgic moments. Let's continue our tour. And this is Rua Mouzinho da Silveira, a avenue built in the 19th century. And like Rua das Flores, the houses from this street also were built by the upper class. Here's some more for Porto's Dictionary. Estar com o toco. It means having a bad mood, so it's better to keep the distance. Brial, freezing cold. Estar com os azeites. Being with the olive oil. The meaning is to be annoyed or in a bad mood. We came to the end of our video. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for being here, and see you in the next time.